today we got a fairly new one that we're going to be working on. This is a 2022 Polaris RZR. This is a 1000 Trail S. Very nice looking machine. When I first saw these come out, I wanted one actually because I love the blue and white scheme. I had one of these. My first side-by-side I bought was a brand new 2014 Polaris RZR Trail. It was a small machine. This is a 60-inch. That was a 50-inch, but it was the Blue Fire edition they called it. It was pretty much the same color as this, the blue and the white. Love the machine, love the looks of it until I get something a little bigger. Then I wanted something bigger because of the ride. This thing probably rides great because it's 60-inch versus the 50-inch Trail. But yeah, either way, good looking machine. And the reason these are extra fender flares that I don't think those come on there. This piece does, but not this. But the reason why this is here, it does run and drive. However, it's not running the best. So if we come in here, open the door up, let's go ahead and fire it up. I'll show you what I mean. So it starts right up. It's idling. When we pulled this off its trailer, it actually died like twice, I think. But it seems to be idling right now. But we do get a check engine light right there. So we do have some problems, obviously. This thing's got quite a few miles on it for the year. It's 3,500 miles. So the owner definitely did some riding with this thing. Let's see, let's go ahead and try to increase the RPM, see what it does. I'll try to start off slow. That steady increase in throttle. There she goes. You can feel kind of a miss rate there. And when I just give it a little bit more throttle, it kind of held the higher RPM, came down slowly. It should just drop real quick. So definitely got some running issues. First thing we got to do is scan the code and see what we come up with. Now we can look on the dash here and actually see if I remember how to do this. I do everything on the computer now because it's kind of quick. There we go. So we got this code. Do we have any other codes? Whoops. Yes, we got another code right there. So yeah, it doesn't tell you, just tells you the code. Now you could go online and certainly look that up, but my computer, when I hook that up, it's gonna tell me exactly what it is. And then we'll see what's going on. So we're gonna pull this in the garage, but first I'll tell you a little bit about it. We'll let this thing run. So apparently this thing started acting up when I think he said he was doing some donuts this past winter, so it's been a while. This past winter he started doing some donuts, and it just, I don't know if it died on him. I think he said it died on him. Maybe not, maybe just the check engine light come on. Either way, we got this problem. He's took it to 2 mechanics so far, but they didn't have anything to plug in with. So one of the codes that's on there, he said, was showing O2 sensor. That's what the guy told him. And they put a new O2 sensor in it. However, they did put a aftermarket O2 sensor. So still could be an issue, obviously. I don't know. We'll see. Once I hook mine up, I can read what that O2 sensor is reading, so that'll be handy. But yeah, no, other than that, this thing goes pretty good. I guess he's been driving it like this, but he took it on a short, I don't know, 60 miles or something, maybe less than that, and he went through a full tank of fuel. So obviously it's dumping way too much fuel in there to compensate for whatever it thinks is going on wrong. So let's get it in the garage and find out. Now that she's warmed up a little bit, I can show you. You can see it does have full power. It lets you go full power. It's mainly just that idling issue, and obviously it's probably dumping way too much fuel in the system. But yeah, let's hook her up. Okay, she's in here. Let's go ahead and pull this panel off, because this under here is where our port is located for our scan tool. Gonna need the computer. Any day now. Any day. There we go. This is the Check Tech. This is what I have for Polaris. I have a much better system for Can-Am. I actually get the Bud system that the dealers use, so that is very, very useful. This, it works okay. It's just not, you can't do any programming. You can check codes, you can erase codes, you can read a bunch of data, so it should be able to tell me what's going on here. Grab our end, plug that in. And then this to the computer. Get rid of that. Now this just plugs into the USB on the computer side. And then on this side, we gotta come back here. Try to get this thing off. There we go. A lot of dirt and mud in there. Once we get that off, go ahead and plug that side in. I know some of you guys have asked about what I use for Polaris software. If you guys want this, like I said, you can't do any programming, but you can read a lot of codes and stuff like that. So if you want that, I'll leave a link in the description. You can purchase it if you'd like. Turn the key on. We don't need the lights on though. Where are the lights over here? Check Tech. Right here we can go to trouble codes. We got this 520344, active fuel correction to lean. The code indicates the computer has applied a maximum amount of fuel trims that exceed the internal set points. This code can be caused by the following: engine exhaust leak, air entering the exhaust and skewing with the O2 sensor, dirty air filter that is restricting airflow, air intake leak, aftermarket engine modifications such as camshaft, exhaust system. So as far as I know, there's no modifications to this engine. There's no exhaust systems. That's stock system on here. I didn't hear any engine leaks. I didn't hear any exhaust leaks. I mean, did they? So they did remove the spark arrestor, but I don't think that would cause this issue. I've removed these in the past, never been an issue. So I think we got another problem. For one, if this thing's been to mechanics, they replaced the O2 sensor, I really hope they check the air filter and the simple stuff like that first. Let's go ahead and open her up. Okay, that looks clean. So do we have an intake leak somewhere? This is like the intake plenum right here. So this obviously could have some leaks, which I hope not, because there's a lot of dust and stuff that goes on these. So we'll go ahead and look around, see what I can find. For one, we'll go ahead and clear the code. And it came right back on, so definitely a problem. So like I was saying, you might not be able to program with this, but you can see a lot of different data on here. So we can check all our map sensors, all-wheel drive, make sure the buttons are working, battery voltage, which the battery voltage you can see pretty easily, but it's handy, everything's here. We can check a lot of stuff. Throttle position and sensor. So from sitting here, what'll happen is if these things sit to save the battery, if they sit too long, your EPS, your electric power steering, will go off. You'll notice the light will come up, and as you can see, we got a code right here. Not a big deal. As soon as you fire this thing up, it should go away, and then you have your power steering back, or you can cycle the key off and turn it back on, and then it would start working as well. Just a way to save the power on this thing. So I spent a little time looking for any leaks, anything that stuck out. Pulled off all the connectors, make sure there was no corrosion. Everything looks great on there. Same thing down here. I didn't see anything. Ground looked good, nice and tight. It looks nice and clean. Everything looks fairly clean. I should have pressure washed this thing. This thing came to me kind of filthy, but it's not. I've seen worse. So if I have to get in too far in, I'll definitely go pressure wash it. But next thing I want to check is fuel pressure, because obviously if the fuel pump wasn't putting the right pressure in there, that might cause an issue. Because let's go look at the code again. The code indicates the computer has applied a maximum amount of fuel trims that exceed the internal set points. So if the fuel pump is not putting enough fuel in, but the computer detects that and it wants to dump more and more, but it can't because it's only got so much fuel, that would screw stuff up too. So definitely gonna check that next to see what kind of fuel pressure we're getting out of here. It's coming down pretty hard out there right now. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead, test the fuel pressure on this. Hopefully you guys can hear me. You should be able to with the mic, but yeah. So right here we have a little test port. Just unscrew that. We'll grab our fuel pressure tester, screw it right into that port. Make sure it's good and tight. All right, so we should have around 58 PSI. The service manual says 58 PSI plus or minus 2 PSI. So 56 to 60. We'll go ahead and see what she says. Turn the ignition on. All right, what do we got? I showed 50 right there. That's a little low. Yep. Did bleed back down to like 40, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and hit it again. Shut it off. Turn it back on. See what it says. Might have been like 55. We'll go ahead and test the running PSI. So the good thing is with that port, you can go ahead, fire this up, and still read that. Yeah. We do need to hit the brake on this one though. Alright, running PSI looks to be at 55. I'm going to go ahead and leave this right here and increase the RPM, see what it does. You know, around full throttle, it was down to 50. Idling to just a hair throttle, it's like 55 PSI, so it's very close, but very close. It still might be, it might be the problem, I don't know. I'm gonna test a few more things because I wanna make sure before we go ahead and pull that fuel pump. I did go ahead, right before I started this up, so I did go ahead and pressure wash this thing. Got it all cleaned up the best I could anyways, do a quick job. That way we can do a little more exploring without getting dirt everywhere anyways. Go ahead and shut her off. Bleed that excess fuel into the can here. Disconnect this. Reinstall our cap. So we can come in here, pull this seat out of the way. Under this cover here, that's where our fuel pump is. So it's very easy to get to. Very easy to get to. Might as well pull it off, see if the screen in there is plugged up. If I see a lot of junk in there, I think that might be our problem. If it looks nice and clean, well, still could be our problem. But like I said, it seems a little down, but it doesn't mean my gauge is, you know, 100% correct. So it's only off like, I'm showing 55. It's supposed to be 56 minimum 56. So it's very, very close. But very easy to do, so we'll just go ahead, unplug this connector, remove our gas line just like so. There we go. Then we can go ahead, unscrew this. Try to get everything out of the way here. Cap can come off. This can come out of there, let it drain. Just want to see a little bit of dirt inside the tank. Not bad though, there's always a little dirt, but it's pretty clean for the most part. I'm gonna go ahead and drain out all the fuel just in case. You never know, you get a bad batch of fuel. Let that drain. Okay, so as you can see, I got some stuff torn apart here because What I ended up doing was I took the mass airflow sensor apart. What I ended up doing was taking the mass airflow sensor out of the intake plenum here, and it's cleaned off now, but this thing was full of oil. So I cleaned it off with some electronic cleaner, put it back in, and it didn't seem to make a difference. But because this was full of oil, I started looking, and I looked down in here, and there is a lot of oil. I don't know if I'll be able to show you or not, because this box doesn't actually come apart. But maybe if I get the flashlight in there, maybe. I don't know. You can see there's definitely some oil in there. What I'm going to do, take this apart, clean it out the best I can, because this box doesn't come apart, but I can still spray some carb cleaner in there. I'm going to swirl it around and then empty it out, and then I'll clean off the throttle body. That same thing, when I pulled that apart, this the tubing right here, I know you can see that. When I pulled this apart, the same thing, really oily in there. So it appears we have quite a bit of oil coming up through the crankcase breather. I don't know if that's, that's messing with stuff like the oil. I don't know. I'm going to clean this out, pull that breather, and see if we have, excessive blowby for some reason. I don't know what's going on. I wouldn't think this thing would have engine problems already. I know it's got 3,500 miles on it, but still. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I did some other stuff. I checked the plugs. I did a lot of it off camera because I'm kind of in a hurry with this thing. This was kind of a last minute thing that he wanted to get done. I didn't think it would take too long, so I said I would do it. But now it's getting in front of other projects that were here first. So, unfortunately, if this little bit of stuff doesn't work, I might have to send, as much as I hate to, might have to have him. He was talking about bringing it to the Polaris dealer. I might have to have him do that just because I don't have the time. The fuel pump, I don't know. We're going to do this and see where we're at that point. All right, I got everything back together now, as you can see. I'm going to go ahead and fire it up. Hope for the best, but I don't know. We'll see. Check engine lights still on. Not great. Try to clear it. Comes right back. Our O2 sensor is reading. I mean, it's at 0.04. Not sure. What I do want to do is unhook that breather tube and see if there's a lot of oil coming out of there or not. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, so I got it disconnected. It's right here. I'll fire it up. I'm not sure if the camera's picking that up or not, but I can definitely see a fog of oil coming out of there. Unfortunately, I do not like the looks of that. Whether that has anything to do with this engine code, I don't know. I'm thinking it might. It's definitely not great to have, oil leaking down in there. But I'm going to have to get a hold of the owner, see if he wants me to continue on this, because this is all I can do right now. I mean, obviously, I'll throw everything back together. But this is all I can do right now. I don't have time. I definitely got more projects that gotta go before this one. They were promised first. This one, I could get to it if he wants to wait, a week. Probably a couple weeks, unfortunately. I tried to help him out, to get, do the simple stuff. The fuel pump, my pressure tester is testing a little low on that. Could be the issue, but I don't know if I'd want to throw one in there for like 2 psi. It definitely could be the problem. Also, my pressure tester, my fuel injection tester, might be off a little bit, If it's off just hair, you know, that reading could be right. So once again, I don't know. You know, I hate throwing parts at stuff, wasting money. I wouldn't want to buy a fuel pump if I didn't know for sure. You know, maybe I get another tester and test it, see if it turns out the same. My guess would either be fuel pump or maybe even that exhaust, the O2 sensor. That might be bad as well. It's an aftermarket one. It is reading on my thing, but is it reading the correct volts? I don't know. I hate doing this because he's going to want this back soon. I think he's going to bring it to the dealer. I don't think he's going to want me to wait, you know, a couple weeks to actually get a hold of this thing and really dig into it to find out what it is. But I tried. Sucks for me if he does take it, because obviously I'm not going to charge for this. I got a couple hours into it, you know, what I did so far. I did a lot more than I showed on the camera, but I just, like I said, I was trying to get it done quick. It's one thing if I said to the customer, you know, it's going to be this much money to fix it and they don't want to fix it. Obviously, I would still charge for my time. Something like this, where I'm kind of saying I can't fix it right now, I'm not going to charge for this. It is what it is. We'll see what he wants to do. If he does want to do it, well, you guys see the rest of the video. If not, that'll be it for here. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next repair. Hopefully the next one goes a little smoother.